Ma'am, we have made a slide ready for you.
Yes, I can see it. It would be good if you come with each slide at a time.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Shall we start the session?
Yes, I am ready when you are ready.
Okay. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. Good evening, everyone. With great joy and immense exultation, I extend my warm welcome to all the dignitaries, guests, and delegates present here for Dr. Sudhir Raj and Memorial Webinar Series organized by DIKSHA E-Learning in association with Ayurveda College, Coimbatore. In today's session, we will be discussing about Anuvamshika Siddhanta by Dr. Indusree C. Suseelan.
Actually, I'm not getting the screen. No? Yes.
Ma'am, one.
Thank you. I think you're Vidya. Thank you
Yes,
for
ma'am.
the.
Ma'am, 1 minute, ma'am. We have an introduction for you.
Okay.
So before starting the session, I would like to go through a few of the basic instructions to be followed throughout the session. For uninterrupted class session, use laptop with high-speed internet connection. Please make sure your microphone is on mute to have a disturbances-free session. In case of any disruption, please check your internet connection firstly. And if the problem is within our network connection, kindly raise the issue in the chat box. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Anjana Ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Sharira Rachna, Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Vidya. My humble pranams to the gathering. It's my privilege to extend a cheerful welcome to you all. Today, the topic for the presentation is Anuvamshika Siddhanta by Dr. Indusree Suseelan, Assistant Professor, Sri Jayendra Saraswati Ayurveda College and Hospital, Chennai. I extend a warm welcome to you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation and for being with us here today. And we hope that your presentations will be enlightening to all of us. And we are delighted to listen from you. Let me proudly welcome all our delegates for this session. Once again, welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our guest speaker. Dr. Indusree C. Suseelan has completed BMS degree from Vishnu Ayurveda College and Hospital, Kerala. After successfully completing her UG course, she pursued Rachna Sharira from SDM College of Ayurveda, Karnataka. She is currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Rachna Sharira at Sri Jayendra Saraswati College and Hospital. We are very proud to have you here on this session today, ma'am. Now, without any further ado, we will turn the time over to respected Dr. Indusree C. Suseelan to enlighten our minds with her knowledge. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank this organizers, that is the DIKSHA Academy, and co-organizer Ayurveda College, Coimbatore. And I would also like to thank Dr. Anjana, who is my junior actually. And I thank you for the opportunity to present in this occasion. Without wasting any of your time, we will just directly go to the presentation. Shall we have the second slide, please?
Ma'am, is the screen visible to you?
Yes, screen is visible, but would it be possible for you to make it into one slide each, like rotating your screen?
Sure, ma'am. 1 second.
Come to the first slide, okay, naming slide.
Ma'am, is it okay?
Okay. Is it possible to rotate the screen?
Ma'am, we'll try. 1 second.
Okay. You just have to unlock the screen, unlock the orientation.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am. We'll make it ready for you.
No. Yes, as she does that, I'll just give you some gist on what I want to take in this class. This cannot be considered as a class actually, because when we come to a seminar, it's always discussion. Okay, so what I plan to do is give you some pointers which I have come across while we are doing our studies, and I'm just bringing them to your knowledge, and we can discuss on how this knowledge is beneficial to you, and further we can continue with this topic again in our future also. So the topic I've chosen today is Anuvamshika Siddhanta, because during my PG days this topic was little different when I came across this my curriculum. So I thought of why not pursuing this topic a little more. So that is how I came up with this article, and later on develop into a presentation. Okay. So here I have presenting on the topic Anuvamshika Siddhanta, and I would like to introduce the concept of inheritance also along with this concept. Okay. Can we come to the third slide, please?
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Yes, a small introduction. As we are Ayurvedic physicians, we need to study the Srishti Nirmana Karma, okay, Parampara or Karma, whatever you say that. And this is taken from the Nyaya Vaisheshika's concept. And the main concept behind the Srishti Nirmana is the Karya Karana Siddhanta. Now, Karya Karana is actually, what is it? A two-way highway where one can be identified with the other, and the vice versa. Like if there is a karya, we can understand the karana, and if there is a karana, we can foretell the karya also. So from that siddhanta only, this Srishti Nirmana as well as the Anuvamshika Siddhanta is being viewed according to our acharyas. So coming to the next slide. Many of my slides will have slokas. I am not an expert in slokas. I might be reading it wrong, so please come bear with me. And if there is any wrong, please don't be judgmental. Thank you. Yes, coming to our introduction, that is again Anuvamshika Siddhanta. Anuvamshika, meaning something which is following. Anu meaning that is something following. So Vamshika is the heritage or the family tradition. So something is following the tradition. So Anuvamshika, which is following the heritage. So from that only this further details have been formed. So I'm taking this sloka from Charaka Sharira, 4th chapter, where it quotes Yatha Striya Dosha Pragobhokta Anya Sevana Aya Dosha Pragupitaha Shariram Upa Sarpandaha Shonida Garbhashaya Upapatyante Nacha Kasnena Shonida Garbhashayo Dushyanti Tadevam Garbham Labade Striya. So this is context of where Acharya is telling that who will get the diseases, who is susceptible to get the diseases. So the sloka starts with Yada Striya. So there is a concept that a Stri who is indulging in dosha pragoba janya ahara viharas. Okay, so if she is indulging in such ahara vihara, so what happens? Her sharira will have this aggravated doshas in her. So such a person, when she is conceived, Okay, when she is undergoing conceiving or undergoing intercourse and conceived a garbha, and that garbha will have certain vigritis. That is what is the Acharya saying in the first line. Next, tatha tasya garbhasya. Okay, such a conceived child will have madrujanam avayava anyatame avayavo vikrita. That is madrujanya avayavas. For example, the tvak, shonita, like that many madruja bhavas were told previously to this sloka. So such bhavas will be affected in the garbha. So ego athava aneka, that is not only one, many such avayavas will be affected. Yasya avayavasya bhije bhijabhage vadoshaha pragopam apatapte pragopa apatyante tam avayavam vikrita avishadi. So that is where, that is Acharya is saying, wherever the bija bhaga is affected, the concerned organ which is developed from that such bija and bija bhaga, that is the avayavas, they will be vitiated. Tam avayavam vikritam avishyati. Okay, so this is the gist. Now coming to the next slide, the same sloka I have mentioned it in your smart art. Next slide, please. Yes. So here the same thing I have mentioned in a flow chart, that is apatya ahara vihara, which is indulged by a mother. Her body will be having partially vitiated. That is why it is mentioned as partially vitiated, not fully vitiated. And such a person will be affected with the artava garbhashaya doshas. And if such a lady with the artava garbhashaya doshas undergoes a conceiving or undergoes garbha, who attains the garbha, such garbha will have a bija bhaga avayava garbha vigritis. Hope you understood this portion. Next. I am not going speed, no?
No.
Thank you. Yes. Now this very famous sloka, this is taken from Charaka Sharira 3rd chapter. Yasyasya angavayasya bije bhaga upatapto bhavati tasya angavayasya vigriti rupajayate. That is the same sloka, slightly more different he is approaching. The same ending sloka has been taken up and a slight more explanation is given. So again, yasya angavayasya, that is whichever organ is formed from a vitiated bija bhaga, that organs will be affected or will have vigritis. Next, na ubajayade cha anupada, that is if it is not vitiated, it will not have any deformities. Tasmat ubhaya utpatti rapyatra, that is two possibilities, both the possibilities, either it can have vigritis or it need not have vigritis. That is two possibilities are mentioned. Sarvasya cha atmajani indriyani, that is every indriyas that is in our body is just developed from atmaja bhavas, and tesham bhava abhava hetur daiva, that is their presentation and absence is already predetermined. That is, Daivam here refers to the Purva Karma Phala. So, Tasmat, so we cannot definitely say Tasmat Nekantado Jadadipyo. That is, if a parent, that is Jadadipyo here refers to a dull parent, a mentally challenged parent. Jata, the parent who is having a dull nature, need not have the same progeny with the same dull nature. That is what the Acharya is saying, because it is already predetermined. That is because of the Daivam, Purva Karma Phala. That is one more addition he is saying. Even though if there is a Vikriti and the doshas are predominant, they might not appear. It need not be always, but such a case can occur because it is already predetermined by the Daiva Phala. Okay. Next sloka. Next slide, please. Yes. Coming to individual, that is bija, bhaga, avayavas. So if there is a bija vikriti, okay, bija here refers to the shukra and shonida, that is nothing but the ovum and the sperm. So what we can understand is bija vikriti. Bija vikriti, we can take it as ashta dushtis of the shukra and artava, that is vadaja, pittaja, kapata, like we have mentioned in the textual, that is the ashtavida dushtis. So ashtavida dushtis, if the parents are having ashtavida dushti shukrartavas and they are undergoing intercourse, and the child or the progeny will have bija vikriti. Bija vikriti. So certain examples are mentioned by acharyas. Next page, please. Next slide, please. So the references regarding the progeny who is having who are affected by parents with the Ashutta Shukrartava Lakshanas will have Jadaja Prameha, Arshas, Sahaja Arshas, Sahaja Kushta. We'll take the example of Kushta itself. For example, a father is having the Kushta. Okay, so the Kushta, this Roga is affecting even the Shukra. Okay, so the Shukra itself is affected with the Kushta, then that Bija is affected. So the Bija which is having that Kushta Roga, when it is having, when it is forming the conceiving, getting conceived, that child born will also have the Kushta. That is here the reference for the Sahaja Kushta. Next slide, please. Next is a Bija Bhaga. Okay, Bija Bhaga. We are coming to the next part. Bija Bhaga. Now this is also taken from the same chapters, 4th chapter. Yatha hi asya shonide garbhashe bija bhaga pradosham apatyate tata vandyam janayati. Okay, so these slokas are divided into 4 parts. Okay, first 2 part is a mentioning for female progeny. Next 2 part is mentioned for male progenies. Even though the names are same, that is if Shonita and Bija Bhaga is affected, or Bija, that is Shukra Bija and Bija Bhaga of the Shukra is affected, the progeny will have same conditions, that is Vandyatvam and Pudi Praja. Next slide. Yes. So Bija Bhaga, what it refers is a part of the Bija. Bijasya Anga Pratyanga Nivartago Bhage Bija Bhaga. That is a part of the Bija which is responsible for production of a particular part of the body. Here the particular part refers to the reproductive part mainly. Okay. So if the Bija Bhaga is affected along with the Bija, the progeny will be called as a Vandya and Pujipracha. In male and females, the name, both the name is the same. Next slide. Yes. If you go into detail, so in male and female, both cases, if the Bija Bhaga of the Artava or Shukra, either one if it is affected, which part will be affected? That is a part of Garbhashaya, okay, is affected, and the part of Shukra, where the pathway of Shukra or the Moolasthana of Shukra is, Shukravaha Srotas, anything you can take here, they are affected. So the Vikriti in the fetus is visualized or elicited in the Garbhashaya or the Shukrashaya. Now the progeny will be having the incapability of getting conceived. So the progeny is the one who is having the Vandyatva. Okay, so this is what happens in if there is a Vikriti of Bija and Bija Bhaga. Next slide. Again the same Vikriti in the Bija and Bija Bhaga. If the progeny is able to conceive also, the next progeny is, which is the second generation, the second generation, will be either it will be having low birth rate, or that is, it will not survive. Okay, in death in the at birth itself or before birth, and even if it is born, it will have severe deformities, making it unable to survive for a long time. So such kind of progeny is called as, that is the main progeny is called as a Pudi Praja, where the next generation will be affected. Yes, next slide. So we have gone through Bija and Bija Bhaga. You can see it is getting broad spectrum now. That is a multifactorial approach is the next one. That is Bija along with the Bija Bhaga, and one more is there, that is a Bija Bhaga Avayava. Now Bija Bhaga, Bija is a whole gamete, you can say. So Bija Bhaga is a part of the gamete. Bija Bhaga Avayava is again part of the Bija Bhaga. So we are getting more in depth and it is getting multifactorial. Okay. So if you take the Stree, in case of a Stree or a female progeny, okay, then these three are affected. Okay, the Shonida, Garbhashaya, Bija Bhaga and Bija Bhaga Avayava. So what happens? The progeny which is formed will have a three karanam cha sharira bija bhaga एकादश प्रदोषमापद्यते तथा स्त्री आकृति भूयिष्ठा अस्त्रेया. Now this feature is important. Astreya Vartha. That is the name of the progeny. That is a name given to the progeny which is obtained. Okay. Nama Jayade Tam Sri Vyapat Ajakshate. Okay. So that is the nature of the progeny that is given next. And in males, if the bija bhaga, avayava, we are all affected, then what happens again? Shariram, in Purusha, it is called as Apurusham. Okay, Purusham, Apurusham, Trinaputrika. The term used is Trinaputrika. Can you come to the next slide? Yes. So again, sub part of this is what we have explained. So Varta and Trinaputrika. So these two conditions, you will find that secondary sexual characters are mostly affected. So this secondary sexual characters are affected in conditions like Turner syndrome. Then we have trisomy X. Then we have Klinefelter syndrome. These are where the secondary sexual characters are mostly affected. Even though they are congenital deformities, you can see such kind of deformity that is affecting the sexual characters. Okay, next slide, please. Yes. So here we are going into more depth, that is a Bija Bhaga Avayava, where the part responsible for the production of Garbhashaya along with Bija Bhaga responsible for the production of female characters. This is mainly the secondary sexual characters. What Vikriti is happening is the whole of the body of the Garbha, that is the progeny is affected, causing the Tridosha Koma. The affected child is called as Vartha, and where the child will have incomplete reproductive organs. Either the internal organs will be missing or the external organs will be missing. Either way, the child will have, if it is a female child, it will have feminine characters, but the complete female reproductive organ will be absent. So such a progeny is called Vartha. Next slide. So same in males also, if the reproductive organs are affected and either external or internal reproductive organs are missing or damaged, such a progeny is called Trinaputrika, where again the Tridosha Kopa is the main reason. Yes. I hope you are following what I'm saying and I'm not in a very fast mode.
We are following you, ma'am.
Yes. This is a very, what is it? A sleep mode topic, I feel. So in between, if you want any what is it, correction or any clarification, you can ask. Can we go to the next slide, please? So when we come to the Bija Vigritis, again we can come across the references. As in Ayurveda, that's the most difficult part. We cannot find the references for any one topic in one particular area itself. We have to go on checking all the textbooks of each acharyas to get the context reference. So likewise, when we look into various contexts, there is a context called as Nabumsaka. Nabumsakam, where the progeny which is obtained, the progeny, the present generation, will be fertile, infertile or sterile. Okay. So what the Acharya is saying, some of the infertile people will have a history of Bija Vikriti in their parents. Okay. So Susruta Acharya has mentioned 7 types of Navamsaka and Charaka Acharya mentioned 5. Okay. So among them, such Bija Vigritis can be observed in, for example, according to Susruta Acharya, Asekya, Saukandika, and Kumbhika type of Navamsakas. Okay. So if you take Asekya, the Bija Dushti is in the father. Okay, so what is the Bija Dushti? There is the Alpa Bijata. Okay, the Shukra will be in less quantity, and the progeny, that is the Asekya, that is the present progeny, will have the sexual perversion. Okay, that is the main problem there. So sexual perversion, where he or she is sexually aroused only by eating the Shukra. Okay. Next is Saugandhika, where again the Bijatushti is lying in the mother. Mother will have Pudi Yoni. That is a condition where the Garbhashaya is affected. Okay, so there is Bija Vikriti there itself. The Ashaya Vikriti is there. So the child born, who is called as a Saugandhika Nabumsaka, will be having the sexual perversion where he or she is sexually aroused by the smell of the yoni. Okay. Next, coming to the another type of Nabumsaka, which is called as Kumbhika Nabumsaka, where the Bija Dushti is lying again in the father itself, where again the Alpa Shukrata is there, and the child is again sexually perverted, having the sexual arousal by the sodomy condition. Next slide, please. Again, according to Charaga, 3 types again we can find, where the Navamsaka, where conditions you will find the Bija Dushtis in their parents. Okay, so Dviretra is a condition where the parent is affected with a condition, or not a condition, where there is Samashada of the Bija, that is equal quantity of Shukra and Shonita. When we learn in Shukra Shonidam Garbhasham, that area, that context, we will learn that Shukra Bahulada, Puman, and Shonidam, Abala, and then Samam Nabumsakam. Okay, so in that context only this is mentioned. That type of Nabumsakam is called as Viretra. So here, at the time of the intercourse, there is equivalency of the Bija and that is Shukra and Shonita, and such a progeny which is having characteristics of both male and the female. That is unique. That is a more unique characteristic of the Nabamsaka. Next type is the Pavanindriya, where the mother is affected. Mother is affected with the Garbhashaya Vikriti, and the child is having Shukrashaya Vikriti. So it will be a male progeny, and the male progeny will be having Shukrashaya Vikriti. Next, Samskaravahi, that is another type, where there is Vadatushti in the parents, and leading to Shukrashaya Dwara Vikhatana. That is the pathway of the Shukra is affected, and the child will have sexual perversion. So the parent that is a father who is having Vadatushti will have Vikhatana of the Shukrashaya Dwara, and thereby the child born because of such a parent, the progeny will be having sexual perversion. So these are the few examples I could get from the Navamsaka context. Next slide, please. Yes. So as far in the beginning itself, I told you this topic is actually spread widely. It is not present in one context. We have to think on certain context also. So here I have taken from the second chapter. These were the previous slokas are taken from third and fourth chapter. So this sloka is taken from the second chapter, where Acharya has mentioned, or he has grouped together certain factors which is responsible for congenital deformities. Okay, so here they have mentioned 5 such factors, that is bija, atma, karma, ashaya, kala, doshehi, madhusta ahara vihara doshehi. So 5 factors: Bida, Bija, Atma Karma, Ashaya, Kala Dosha, Madhusta Ahara Vihara. And Kurvandi Dosha Vividani Dushta, Samsthana Varna Indriya Agritani. Okay, next slide, please. More into detail. So if you again look more depth wise, if you look, you will see bija dosha, atma dosha, ashaya dosha, kala dosha, madrahara doshas are repeatedly said in various contexts of this Anuvamshika Siddhanta. Okay, so bija dosha again refers to the ashta dushtis of the Shukra and Artava. Atma doshas refers to the Purva Karma, that Deva word was used. So same here, Purva Karma Phala, which again mainly affects or which is responsible for the Indriya Vikriti. Next is Ashaya dosha. Ashaya dosha refers to the Garbhashaya and Vrishanas. Ashaya here. So defects in these two organs, that is the reproductive organs, will lead to the Garbha Vikriti. Next, Kala dosha. Kala dosha here we can take in reference with the Ritu Charya and the Garbhadana Charya. That is, if it is not properly done, that is what the context I am understanding. Maybe there might be some other meaning also which you can contribute. So Ritumati Charya, Ritumati is the Ritu, that is the Charyas which we have to follow. The lady has to follow during the Ritu Kala, which is the ovulation period, which is lasting up to 12 days, starting from the 4th day of the menstrual cycle up to the 12th day. So, 16th day. So, 12 days it will be lasting, and within these 12 days, certain charyas have been mentioned. So, that is the Ritumati Charya. Then, Garbhadana Charya, that is the karmas, ahara karma as well as vihara karma, which should be followed right before the intercourse is done, so that the progeny which is we are planning to get will be of a supreme quality. Okay, so next is the Madrika Ahara Vihara. Again, coming back to the same sloka first, Yasya Striya. Okay, so that again here defects in the Garbhodpadaka Samagri. Again, Garbhodpadaka Samagri are 4 in number, that is the Ridukshetra Ambu Bija. Here, Ambu is the one we can more useful in this context. Ambu here refers to the nourishment, and this nourishment is got from the Madraja Ahara Vihara. If there is any defects in the defects in the Ahara Vihara that is taken up the mother, again it affects the bija, okay, and causing again the cycle is continuing. Okay. Next slide. Yes, these factors, these 5 factors, that is bija, atma, ashaya, kala, madraja, ahara, vihara, these are all leading to the aggravation of sharirika dosha in the garbha. Okay, so in the garbha only the sharirika dosha is affected. What happens because of this dosha? The dosha koba or this dosha koba, the garbha is affected with vikriti in its samsthana, varna, indriya, and avayava. Samsthanam here refers to the structure. Okay, structure, that is a loss of fingers, that is deformity in the joints, deformity in the length of the bones, like that. Samsthanam. Okay. Varna here refers to both the shape and the color. Okay, Varna, both shape and the color. Next, Indriya. All the Indriyas are actually affected by the Atmaja Bhavas. Okay, but Bija and Atmaja are hand in hand, as we discussed, because everything is previously decided. Purva karma is previously. Yes. Next is Avayava Vikritis. Okay, so that is all been discussed again before. So we will not go into again detail again. Next slide, please. So the end of the same sloka, that is the 5 factors which is mentioned. Acharya has mentioned a very good simile to make you understand how these 5 factors affect the garbha. Okay, Vashasu Kashta Shmakna Ambu Vegas Staroho Sarat Saridat Srodasi Samsidasya Yathaivam कुर्युः विकृतिं तथैव गर्भस्य कुक्षौ नियतस्य दोषः. That is, if you look at the picture, you will find that is a flood is coming in a river, and the flood is actually overflowing into its bank, and it is actually eroding the root of the trees. Okay, so similar to this happening, the body, which is the body of the fetus, which is affected by the doshas, if the doshas affects the surrounding regions, that is the structures it is passing through. So similar to the effect of a flood in the river, okay, the tridoshas or the doshas which is afflicted, the Sharira doshas which is afflicted by these factors will erode the body of the garbha, okay, thereby creating the garbha vikriti. So this much was the Ayurvedic context we have been discussing. So what I have compiled is incomplete actually, because as far as I know, this is just a gist of what we can see. Many other contexts are there, many other slokas are there, which I am not able to compile and discuss also. So with this limited knowledge, we can understand how much the Acharya has been thinking on it. That is, even though they were not able to explain certain things, they have categorized into many factors which we can improve on. Okay, so when we approach the treatment point of view, Acharya has given us many clues on how we can approach the treatment of such kind of diseases. Next slide, please. Yes. So, as I told you, we can look into the concept of inheritance also through this Siddhanta. So, the concept of inheritance has 2 main categories, that is the variation category and the hereditary category. Next slide, please. Yes. When you look into the variation is actually the factors which is concerned with the forces or influence due to which no 2 organisms are exactly alike. So this is referring to our individualism, okay, and this helps in individual to generate a new trait or feature which may help to survive in the given period of time. That is what is variation factors. Whereas hereditary is a study of the factor responsible for resembling between the parent and the offspring, like hair color, eye color, the structural, short stature, tall stature, like that, okay, which is hereditarily passed down. This hereditary factor, helps in carrying these variations to the next generation for their survival. Only those factors which help you to survive will be passed on to the next generation. If any factor is proved to be not useful in surviving, they will be they will get suppressed later on in our generation as we go into the next generation. Next slide, please. So when we take into the modern aspect, why we study the genetics, okay? So why we genetics studies is because of many reasons to understand the causative factors of the disease, biologically aspect of the human specimen, species, how much variations is between the individuals. Then many such plus points are there, okay? So if when you relate to the genetics, many sub other sciences are there, which is newly developed sciences actually. Genetics, which is related to the cells itself, biochemical genetics, developmental genetics, which is we are dealing with, that is embryological life. Then we have immunogenetics, clinical genetics, eugenetics. Many of them I'm not familiar, but the topic is new to me, so I thought of putting into this. If we want, we can take up these topics and make it into a more detail also. Next slide. Thank you. Yes. I attempted to correlate them, but the word correlate cannot be used here because some of the features of a variation in a chromosomal genetic, they cannot be directly made in context with these Bijabhaka and Bijabhaka Avayava. But certain diseases which is caused by the chromosomal abnormality, gene abnormality, we can find them. It's the same as the Vandyatvam, Puti Praja, or the Varta and Trinaputrika condition. So that is why I chose these names. You can also do another study, and you can also make other choices also. Okay, so if in my context of view, okay, so it might be wrong also. So bija can be taken as the ovum. Bija word is set as a tatra bije tatra shukra shonide. So shukra and shonida is nothing but the ovum and the sperm. And bija bhaga, that is bija bhage, that is bhage, it is mentioned as anga avayava, which is the part of the bija itself. So so bija, if you take, we have a central nucleus, and the central nucleus is one where the genetic material is found. So genetic material is the chromosome, and if you take more parts of the chromosome, again we will find the gene. So bija bhaga avayava, again bhaga and avayava. So gene can be the next level. So I have taken it as a, that is bija bhaga avayava as a gene. The chromosome, which is responsible for the inheritance of the characters, while the gene is a structural unit, and it is again made up of the histones, and again it is the main material, that is the main genetic material, DNA. Next slide, please. Yes, if you take the individual, again coming to bija bhaga avayava in modern context, bija, okay, gametogenesis, that is formation of this bija, that is the sperm and ovum, that is oogenesis and spermatogenesis, where you can see that is the 2n is finally coming to that is the haploid, diploid cells are becoming haploid. So this is actually to help in reproduction, okay, reproduction, where a haploid cell of both the parent cell is required to make it into a diploid stage, okay. So variation in this gametogenesis or this oogenesis and spermatogenesis is where the abnormalities are present. That is the non disjunction, where necessary disjunction is not happening. For example, N, you can see the N is mentioned, that is the gene, okay, so the chromosome. So what happens if the N is going into only one cell? So the 4 cells will have N. So this 4 cells, in this 4 cells, if one N is missing, that is again an abnormality. If one is having more than one N, that is also a abnormality. So that is where the Vikriti is occurring. That is where the disjunction is the process where the abnormality of the gametogenesis is occurring. Next slide, please. Yes, I'm sorry about the blurredness of this slide. So again, abnormal gametogenesis is basically because of non-disjunction. Okay, so what happens is involved in the fertilization. This is the gametes which is formed due to the abnormal non-disjunction. What happens? the progeny which is formed will also have a developmental abnormalities. For one example is a Down syndrome, okay, which is trisomy 21. Next slide, please. If you take the chromosomes, now chromosomes are the one which is the genetic material in our nucleus, and you can see its abnormality can be classified into numerical abnormality and the structural abnormality. Again, numerical abnormality, you can see involvement of autosomes. That is, the two types of chromosomes are there, autosomes and sex chromosomes. So numerical changes, abnormalities can involve the autosomes as well as the sex chromosomes. If it is autosomes, you can see an example of a Down syndrome. If it is sex chromosomes, you can see it as an example of a Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome. In structure, you can see deletion, duplication, translocation, isochromosomes, inversion. I'm not going into detail because it will take more than 2 hours to finish this topic. So I'll just mention these, okay? Now, if you remember, or if you go into the previous slides, we have mentioned this Varta condition, the Putipraja condition, where secondary sexual characters are missing or lacking. So you see Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, especially the Turner syndrome. Okay, if you see XO, one X or Y is missing. Okay, so what happens there? There the secondary sexual characters are missing. So Varta condition as well as Putipraja condition can be correlated with them. So they are actually Bija Bhaga Avayava Dushtis. So previously, I told you the word multifactorial. So when we go into more detail, more depth, that is Bija Bhaga, Avayava, it has become more multifactorial. So here, it is very not possible to directly correlate with these abnormalities. That is, chromosomal abnormalities cannot be directly related to the Bija Bhaga Avayava, but Bija Bhaga Vikriti. But we can say if there is Bija Bhaga Dushti, there must be a Bija Bhaga Avayava Dushti also. That is my view. You can challenge it also. Yes, that is one way of looking into it. Next slide, please. Yes. Gene diseases actually is multiple diseases are there. So I will not go into more of the details. I'll just mention some of them, that is individual gene abnormalities. Okay. Then, for example, the hemophilia, that is a gene abnormality. Then we have the hereditary diseases, that is mostly the autosomal diseases, and gene mutation, that is also a presently very well developed science there. Then we have minor structural changes which is occurring in the gene itself, which is causing major functional abnormalities. One new gene which is mostly studied now is the P53 gene. I think most of you will be aware of it. It is actually the gene which is responsible for suppressing the tumor cells. So such kind of gene is studied now. So it's actually a developing science. So I will not put into more details because I itself don't know how to explain all those things. Okay. So gene abnormalities can be taken up as the Bija Bhaga Avayava Dushtis. Yes. Next slide. Again, I'm sorry for the blurredness of the slide. So this genetic diseases can be characterized into 3. That is chromosomal disorders, single gene disorders, and multifactorial disorders. This multifactorial is actually Bija Dushtis. Okay. Next, single gene disorders can be taken up as the Bija Bhaga Avayava Dushtis, and chromosomal as a Bija Bhaga Dushtis. Okay. So I don't know how to explain this, but when you look at the symptoms or the features of these diseases, some similarities can be observed. For example, Turner syndrome, which is lacking the secondary sexual characters, then that can be correlated with the Varta or Putiprajas, and this hemophilia. Hemophilia is actually sex-linked disease, X-linked disease, which can be linked with the Garbha. Varta again, Varta or the Trinaputrika. Then multifactorial is actually complete gene is or a gamete is affected. So the diseases such as diabetes mellitus, congenital, sahaja prameha. That is an example we can take from this. So this is a categorization of the genetic disease. Next slide, please. Yes. So if you take a conclusion, okay, you can see all the defective factors which we have mentioned in so far in all these slides. They have the tendency to form four diseases, four conditions. Okay, either it will be congenital deformities, or it will be infertility, or sterility, or sexual perversion. So either of them, or two of them, or all of them can be occurring in any of the defective factors mentioned before. Yes, next. Yes. This is actually a very rough idea I put. You can add more. So here, from a point of Ayurvedic physician, ultimately we are all going to be a physician itself, and our main aim is also, as a teacher, we are teaching our students to become a good physician. So what is the use of studying this Siddhanta? Is mainly to prevent. That is what I feel. Prevention. Okay. So if you are aware of a particular karana or karya, okay, and we know the karana, that is the this bija bija dushtis, this atmaja dushtis. We are aware of such conditions, and these are the karanas. Okay. So we can prevent the karya. So that is what should be our approach. So in order to get the healthy progeny which is devoid of any garbha vikritis, we can adopt certain charyas or certain activities which will help you to overcome this. For example, Ritucharya. Then there is a Dinacharyas. Ritucharyas, we can follow it according to our Ritus. Then Dinacharya, daily routines. Ritumadicharya, which should be more focused, especially in a lady who is having a history of a progeny who is defective in its body. Okay, Garbhini Charya, it is also necessary to for a lady who is having a history of Jada Garbha or Jadakni, like that conditions. There also Garbhini Paricharya is very useful. Also, to maintain the Garbha, also one lady has to follow the Garbhini Paricharya. Pumsavana karma. This is a very controversial karma, but main point of Pumsavana karma is Garbhasthabana. Okay, so Garbhasthabana, in the sense one should understand that it is mainly to help the implantation as well as maintaining the implanted condition of the fetus, okay, or the embryo. So that should be the main focus when we teach the students also, when the students should understand the function of the Pumsavana karma. Then there is the genetic counseling. Many type of genetic counseling are there. One example is the 21st week scanning, where organogenesis scanning can be done. So from that, the doctor will be able to understand if there is any organ defects, and the person or the doctor can advise the parents to um, how to approach the later on pregnancy, we can advise them. So this is what is it, the conclusion of my slide is, that is, ultimately we are all doctors, so our main aim is to understand what is the Siddhanta and how we can apply it to our the treatment aspect. Okay, so next slide, please. So this is being a seminar. So seminar is not similar to our class routine topic presentations. This is an open forum for us to discuss on the specific topic. For example, I presented Anuvamshika Siddhanta. This is a new not a new topic, but you can have your own views. What I presented is my view. We can discuss on our individual views, and we can understand more on this topic. And given that, I would like to give my thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to present in this dais. Again, once again, I specifically thank Dr. Ranjana for giving me this opportunity. So I'm open for the questions and any discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for taking your time to prepare for us such an extraordinary, wonderful presentation. We will now go ahead to the question and answer session. Shall we begin, ma'am? Delegates, you can please post your questions in the chat box. Delegates, you can post your questions in the chat box. Let's wait for a few more minutes.
Yes. No hurry. We have time.
Ma'am, we have a question.
Yes.
How we have to manage that history presentation?
Yes, that is a very good question. I have not purposefully put this question slide there because Nidhanam or history taking is a very important aspect when we come to our clinic in any topic if you take, okay? So not only this Anuvamshika Siddhanta, in any given disease, Nidhana or history taking is a very important aspect. So here in Anuvamshika Rogas, okay, it is a congenital diseases, mainly congenital diseases. So taking history, we should focus on both the parents' daily routine, mainly daily routine, and their ahara viharas, and try to focus on how much they are willing to change. Okay, if they want their child to be born properly, we should advise them that such and such thing can be taken. And Ayurvedic treatment, whether Ayurvedic treatment helps, I've seen Pumsavana has helped. That is not in the sense changing the gender, strictly not, but Garbhasthabana wise, I've seen two cases that is proven. And especially in case of Jadakni, okay, Jadakni, where the lady, one patient was there, she was losing her child. She was able to conceive, but like one say the Purva Karma Bhala should be there. That is what we believe. So this lady has conceived 3 times, but these 3 times she was able to hold the fetus for only 3 months maximum, and thereafter some kind of reason will be there, bleeding will start and she will lose the child, and she was in depression also. So I've seen it that after giving the Garbhasthabana drugs like Garbha Raksha Kashayas, and then instilling the that Shirabala 101 Avarti in her nose as a nose installation. She was able to conceive again, and continuous treatment, that is again we continued with the Garbhasthabana Kashayas, and we gave her time to stay, bed rest, everything, and we were able to make her complete the gestation period and have a safe delivery also. That is one case. Another was again she was one patient was not able to conceive even after many attempts. So what we did was we gave them Panchakarma therapy on both the parents, and thereafter they were able to conceive. But it took us three years actually to complete that treatment. Both the parents have undergone 3 times Panchakarma therapy, and then we had a good result in the sense they were able to have a twins. Yes. Is there any role of Panchakarma in avoiding Bija Tushti? Yes, ma'am. Yes, Aparna Yadav. Yes. Definitely, there is a role of Panchakarma because when we learn the Arthavadushti, the Chikitsa itself has mentioned Panchakarmas. So definitely we can, I have also seen Panchakarma, especially Vamana has increased the chance of treating the Bija Dushtis. Thank you, madam. Yes.
And we have another question.
How
How can we understand scientifically Nidana Bija Karma?
Scientifically. I think we have to take up a study on that, Anju madam. You are asking me a very good difficult question because I am I have no detailed knowledge of this, but maybe we can take up a study on this nutritional genomes. But ahara, in certain extent, we can say like junk food if we avoid, and taking up satvika ahara. I have seen some changes in the quality of the sperm. Okay, so maybe we can take up a study to prove this aspect. That is, there is a direct link between the nutritional genomics and the bija prevention of the bija doshas. How we can understand the scientific key nidanam? I don't understand this question. Can you elaborate on that question, madam? Anju madam. Pradeep sir, thank you.
Dr. Anshu, you can unmute yourself and clear your question.
It's okay, Anju. You can just put a message if you are able to unmute. All actions can be followed by treating the cause or anyone will help. That is a good question, Ashok Mishra said. All acharyas can be followed. It's up to yukti of the physician, I think. You can follow any one acharya. If you come to the south side, we will definitely tell you to follow Ashtanga Hridaya. But when you go to this north side, they will ask you to follow Charaka. But up to you to whom to follow, sir. It need not be we should follow all the acharyas, but to understand what is the concept, taking up all the acharyas' view is very useful. So different view can help you to understand the concept, and we can develop our own views.
Delegates, you can post your questions in the chat box. And I think there are no more questions to be cleared.
Okay. Everybody
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for
yes.
answering the questions.
Yes, thank you for the session. Question answer was a little bit tough, but okay. It's a good
Now,
venue to discuss actually. Yes.
Now, I request Dr. Tulya Mohandas, Vice Principal and Professor, Department of Kaya Chikitsa, Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very much happy to deliver vote of thanks to Dr. Indu ma'am. I'm very much thankful to you, ma'am, for spending your valuable time and educating our students about today's topic. I hope everyone got beneficial out of this. And I also thank all the audiences who have actively participated in today's session. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it perhaps the end of the beginning. To know more about our updates, please do stay connected with our social platform. That's all for today's most interesting session with lot of new information for us to close our eyes with thought-provoking knowledge. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.